Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about waking up early and getting your workouts done first thing in the morning so that you don't fail to get them in the rest of the day. And the reason I'm picking that morning session is because that is before life comes at you, and life will come at you hard. So if you're young, maybe don't have kids, you're in college, things like that, you probably don't have much trouble getting in workouts in the afternoon, right? So working out at 6 or 7 at night is no problem for you. But as you get older and you take on more responsibility and more things coming into your life, full-time job, family, kids, all that stuff, it becomes more and more important to partition your time. And I got to say, the best time, if you want to be a even moderately serious athlete, the best time for you to get your sessions in is going to be first thing in the morning, because then the day doesn't run away from you. You don't get too tired, especially as we get older. We just don't have as much energy. You don't get too tired by the end of the day and you're like, I was supposed to do a 60-minute run with intervals this morning, and instead I'm going to do a 30-minute walk, which is better than nothing. I got to give it to you. If you do that, that's better than nothing, but it's not the intended workout. So how do we get ourselves into a routine that we can get up every morning and get these sessions in? I don't want to talk about it too much in this particular presentation, but it really comes down to sleep and dedication. Number one, you need to sleep a reasonable amount of hours. I mean, sometimes it could be 6 hours, but ideally you're getting 7 to 8 hours every night. And then part two is establishing that routine. When that alarm goes off at 5 or 4:30 for some of you, or 5:30 or 6 for those of you that are a little more fortunate to have a little more flexibility in the morning, you need to get out of bed and slug down a cup of coffee if that's your thing, and get out the door. For many of us, getting to the pool is one of the hardest things to do. And for that reason, I would really suggest, if you're training for a triathlon, that you figure out your Monday, Wednesday, or Monday, Thursday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday routine and make those your morning sessions during the week. If you feel the need to, you can take the other mornings off, right? So you can start with 2 mornings a week, maybe you build up to 3 mornings a week. Now, figuring out the rest of your schedule, are you going to be able to train at lunch? Are you going to be able to force yourself to work out after work? Those are questions that you have to ask yourself, like, is it realistic? For my best athletes, they are up almost every morning, first thing in the morning, and they're getting their sessions in because they know the dynamics of their life are so full of stuff that if they don't get it in the morning, there's a 50% chance they won't get it in the rest of the day. If you do have the flexibility to get a session in at lunch, long time ago I had a real job and we had some room for movement and a locker room, so we could get out for a bike ride, we could get out for a run at lunchtime, take a quick shower, pick up lunch, and get back to our desk. That was great. But a lot of places, you're not going to have that opportunity. Some of you who work from home, you're going to have more flexibility in your day. That's great. Again, though, you need to set that routine. If your plan is to sleep in, get breakfast, go to work, and then train at lunch, you need to train at lunch. You can't skip it. You can't have somebody plan a meeting over your lunch. You have to get it done. So the evening stuff, for me personally, has become a lot harder. But one thing I could tell you is, for those of you who are carting your kids around to athletic practices, whether swim practice, soccer, football, whatever it may be, instead of sitting in the car and doom scrolling, you could go out and get an easy jog. Maybe you even are able to find a greenway and get a bike ride in. Where there's a will, there's a way, right? So for you guys that are training for a triathlon, training for a marathon, training for any endurance event, finding those times that you can make things happen and then making those things happen is critical to the long-term success. So back to the morning workout, so because that's really what I wanted to focus on here. First thing, you get out of bed, you maybe have a snack, you maybe have a glass of water, and you get out the door. You don't give yourself time to think. If you sit down and you start reading your phone, you start going through emails, you start watching YouTube, whatever your bad habit is, that's putting you down the spiral of time wasting, right? So you need to just put all that aside, do your little thing at the house and get going. Number two, and this is the best thing about morning training in my book, is that you are moving your body before your mind has time to really dial in the fact that you're doing something that may be uncomfortable. So for many of us, running first thing in the morning, very creaky, jumping in a cold pool, not the favorite thing in the world, right? But you get through that first 5 minutes and then your body warms up. Then your mind starts to relax because you're doing what you wanted to do the whole time. So the biggest tricks to this is getting enough sleep and then getting out the door and not thinking about what you're doing. Just go do it. That's all I really had to say about morning workouts this week. I'll be back next week with sleep or mental training or something like that. It's going to be over here or over here. Bye.